The film opens on a shadowy street, where a convoy of Japanese soldiers navigates through the dimly lit night. Among them, 2nd Lieutenant Yoshiaki Iba notices that his watch has stopped at 5:18. Curious, he turns to the soldier beside him, Agata, and asks for the time. To his surprise, that soldier's watch also reads 5:18. He also mentions that the position of Venus has shifted unexpectedly during their travels, but Iba dismisses this observation since he was asleep throughout the journey. As dawn breaks, the soldiers arrive at a scenic shoreline, where they report to two comrades about an upcoming gathering of the Eastern District. As they disembark from their trucks, Agata inquires about the time to the other soldiers, only to discover that yet another watch has frozen at 5:18. A growing sense of confusion fills the group as they realize that all their watches have strangely halted at the same moment. While they share their confusion, a sudden swarm of seagulls flies overhead, and the environment around them begins to shift dramatically. Out of nowhere, horses appear galloping along the beach, adding to the surreal atmosphere. Meanwhile, their eyes are drawn to the ocean, where they witness the sight of one of their patrol boats sinking beneath the waves. Just as the weight of the scene settles in, the entire team seems to collapse. Later that night, the team regains consciousness and discovers that their watches have started working again. They settle in to wait for sunrise. As dawn breaks, the sun illuminates their surroundings, revealing a completely changed landscape that sends them into a panic mode. Despite the strange changes around them, their equipment remains intact. They decide to reach out to their other team via radio, but they cannot connect due to network errors. Suddenly, they spot the patrol boat that had sunk the previous day. As the boat approaches, they rush to meet the others on board. When they discuss the boat sinking, the soldiers on the boat confirm they felt the same way but add that instead of sinking in the sea, they sank in a sea of light. Together, they try to make sense of their familiar yet altered environment. They soon spot a small group of soldiers on horseback, but the soldiers quickly retreat upon seeing them. Just then, another team arrives in a helicopter for their gathering. This new group also mentions that they felt as if they were sucked into the ocean. While they are talking, they are suddenly attacked by arrows, forcing them to find a safe spot to hide and assess the situation. They discover a troop of soldiers positioned on the top of a hill, launching arrows at them. In the midst of the chaos, one of the Japanese soldiers ignores Iba's orders and opens fire with a machine gun at the attackers. However, he quickly stops shooting when Iba scolds him to do so. As the gunfire subsides, enemy soldiers approach, and their leader introduces himself as Nagao Kagetora, the war commander of Lord Koizumi from Kasugayama Castle. Iba steps forward to introduce himself in return. Kagetora quickly becomes friendly with their team, asking about the modern equipment they brought with them through the time shift. He decides to use some of it before departing shortly after. Once Kagetora and his men leave, the modern soldiers realize they have traveled back to a completely different time period. They try to lighten the mood by joking about Kagetora, but their laughter is cut short when they are suddenly attacked again, this time by arrows coming from the nearby water source. Unfortunately, two soldiers lose their lives in the ambush. Determined to take action this time, Iba decides to confront the threat head-on and drives to the shore with Agata in a jeep. They launch an assault on the enemy troops hiding beneath the water, using grenades to take them out. As they eliminate the attackers, reinforcements arrive from the other side of the water, but Iba and his team quickly defeat them as well. Soon, Kagetora's men join the fight. Kagetora manages to kill an enemy soldier and proudly holds up the severed head of Kuroda Nagaharu, celebrating his victory as his troops cheer around him. That night, after the fight, the soldiers gather around the fire to discuss their chances of returning home. Some believe they might experience an aftershock from the time travel that could take them back to their own time, while others doubt they will ever find a way back. During their discussion, one soldier rushes to the water, hoping to find the aftershock, but is shot by a team member who thinks he is about to fire on their truck, endangering everyone. Afterward, one soldier decides to leave the group to meet his girlfriend, thinking that only their current location has been affected by the time travel. He believes that if he can get away from this place, everything will return to normal, allowing him to go back to his own time. Another soldier chooses to accompany him on this journey. Together, they decide to leave the group, convinced that their best chance of returning home is to escape their present surroundings. The following day, Iba receives an invitation to Kasugayama Castle, but he declines, unwilling to take sides in a conflict he does not fully understand. After witnessing the messenger pressure Iba, Kagetora, filled with rage, kills the messenger and sends a bold message back to the castle, openly defying his lord. Later, Kagetora and Iba sit down together. And Kagetora invites Iba to join him in battle, suggesting that they could rule together. He shares that he sees a reflection of himself in Iba and believes that loyalty should be genuine, stemming from the heart rather than from personal interests. When Iba returns to his group, he tells them they must stay in this era and fight. He insists that their struggles might alter history, allowing them to return home through the intervention of the god of time. However, Yona, a leader from another unit, disagrees, reminding Iba of their past rivalry. Meanwhile, the soldiers start to adapt to their new surroundings by hunting for food in the woods, fishing in nearby waters, and engaging in other activities. In the process, they encounter some locals and offer their help, gradually building connections with the residents. One soldier even falls in love with a young local woman, and they share intimate moments together in the woods and by the small waterfalls. Concurrently, the two soldiers who had run away from the group are ambushed by soldiers from the past. The soldier who initially planned to accompany his friend allows him to escape to find his girlfriend while he stays behind and ultimately falls victim to the enemy. That night, back with the group, Yona prepares to leave by loading equipment and weapons onto the boat. He kills the guard watching over the boat and threatens the motorman, demanding that he either join him on his journey or face death. Feeling threatened, the motorman reluctantly agrees to be on Yona's side in order to save himself. Once they are loaded up, Yona orders the boat to set out into the sea. During their journey, they attack nearby villagers, capturing women and beginning to assault them on the boat. Iba notices their escape, but he is unable to take any action during the night. The next morning, Iba takes the helicopter to search for Yona. He tries to reach him by radio, but Yona ignores his calls. After many tries, Yona eventually answers, and Iba urges him to return. Yona argues that he will never come back and challenges Iba to find him. Iba soon locates Yona's boat. In a desperate move, Yona releases the captured women into the water. One of Yona's men, conflicted about the violence, decides to leave the group, only to be killed by Yona for his choice. Yona and his men then launch an attack on Iba's helicopter. In response, Iba formulates a plan to take over the boat. He insists that one of his best snipers, Mimura, parachutes down onto a nearby island to strike at them at the right moment, while Iba serves as a decoy to protect the helicopter from incoming rocket fire. With this coordinated effort, they manage to overpower Yona and his team. After the confrontation, Iba decides to blow up the boat in the middle of the sea, a choice that weighs heavily on him. This incident ultimately leads Iba to consider a new path, that is to join forces with Nagao Kagetora and rule the land together. After they land, Iba shares his plan with his team to join Kagetora in ruling the country. Gradually, most of the members rally behind him, except for one soldier who has formed a strong bond with a local boy, promising to be like a brother to him. This soldier decides to withdraw from the plan. Despite attempts from the others to persuade him to stay, Iba insists they let him go. With nearly 10 soldiers lost, their numbers have dwindled, but the remaining members are determined to fight rather than perish without making a difference. Iba and his surviving soldiers then head out to inform Kagetora of their decision to join forces. Together, they now have a substantial troop and start planning their attack against Kagetora's former lord, Koizumi, from Kasugayama Castle. The next day, Kagetora meets with his lord and soon assassinates him, plunging the castle into chaos. He urges the soldiers to follow him, warning them that failure to do so will lead to their deaths, but they continue to attack him. Just as the situation intensifies, Iba arrives in his helicopter, launching an assault to support Kagetora. He manages to pull Kagetora up into the helicopter, helping him escape from the turmoil. After this, Kagetora and Iba begin to spend significant time together, training each other to improve their skills. Iba practices using a sword and arrows, learning the techniques necessary for combat in this unfamiliar time. At the same time, Kagetora focuses on strengthening himself by incorporating Iba's modern fighting methods into his own training. As the days go by, their bond grows stronger through this shared experience of learning and adapting to one another's strengths. During their preparation days, Kagetora's men come across the soldier who had left the group to find his girlfriend. They decide to bring him back to Iba's camp. Once they arrive, the camp quickly sets to work, ensuring the soldier receives the medical care he needs. One evening, as they all sit together under the stars, they begin to discuss their strategy for defeating Takeda Shingen, Kagetora's longtime enemy. They analyze the situation, plotting the routes they will take during battle in order to gain an advantage over their opponents. They carefully consider each detail, from the terrain they will navigate to the timing of their attacks, with the goal of winning control over the land they wish to rule. This planning session solidifies their partnership, as they both share a vision for the future and a determination to reclaim their place in history. The atmosphere is charged with purpose as they draw maps and discuss tactics, reinforcing their commitment to each other and to the fight ahead. They decide that Iba's team will confront the Takeda forces alone, and they plan to regroup later in a place known as Kyoto. Soon, Iba's team launches an assault on Takeda's territory, igniting a fierce battle between the two groups. The conflict is long and intense, with Iba's forces managing to defeat thousands of Takeda's soldiers. However, as the battle progresses, more of Takeda's troops arrive, gradually overpowering Iba's men. As the fighting intensifies, Iba's team begins to suffer heavy losses, including their soldiers, weapons, and vehicles. Despite having modern weaponry, Iba and his forces struggle against Takeda's skilled fighters, who outmaneuver them at every turn. Nevertheless, the remaining soldiers continue to fight bravely, using whatever weapons they can find to defend against Takeda's relentless attacks. As Takeda's forces begin to take control of Iba's vehicles, the situation becomes increasingly dire. In a tense moment, one of Takeda's soldiers hangs on the helicopter as it nears the ground, trying to climb aboard. Seeing this, Iba's team yells warnings from the ground, but their voices remain unheard. The soldier on the ground is soon overwhelmed by a large group of Takeda's men and falls victim to their attack. Seeing his friend die ignites a sense of urgency in the soldier aboard the helicopter. Driven by grief and anger, he becomes fixated on avenging his fallen comrade by deploying numerous gunshots and grenades. However, in his haste, he fails to notice that the attacker has made it inside the helicopter. He is then ambushed by the enemy. The attacker swiftly confronts both soldiers on board before leaping out just in time to evade the crash. Meanwhile, Iba's men encounter additional danger as their truck carrying the machine gun comes under attack from Takeda's forces. They quickly shut themselves inside as the attackers try to break in. Nearby, the helicopter crashes while Iba is engaged in battle with the enemies. Noticing the crash, Iba hands his weapon to a fellow soldier and jumps onto a horse to continue fighting. Soon, he is pursued by several of Takeda's men, determined to stop him. In this crucial moment, Iba's training with Kagetora proves to be invaluable. He expertly uses arrows to take down his enemies, demonstrating the techniques he has learned. Each shot he fires represents not just a fight for survival, but also a tribute to his fallen comrades. With steadfast determination, Iba aims to reclaim their territory and turn the tide of battle in their favor. However, Iba's team ultimately loses all their vehicles and most of their major equipment, resulting in the deaths of 5 soldiers during the fight. In a determined effort to turn the tide of battle, Iba makes his way to Takeda's command post. Upon his arrival, Takeda's soldiers rush in to protect their leader, but Takeda waves them away, opting to face Iba in a direct confrontation. The two warriors engage in a fierce sword duel, each showcasing their skill and resolve. As the duel intensifies, Takeda manages to cut through Iba's sword, leaving Iba momentarily vulnerable. In a swift reaction, Iba draws his pistol, turning the duel into a more unpredictable fight. Ultimately, he gains the power and defeats Takeda in this tense encounter. Just as Iba begins to catch his breath, Takeda's son tries to sneak up from behind to launch an attack. However, Iba swiftly counters and defeats him as well. Iba then cuts off Takeda's head and screams as he brings the war to his favor. Kagetora stands nearby, watching the intense scene unfold. Once he witnesses Iba's triumphant victory, he makes his way to their designated meeting point, where they had previously planned to regroup. After the grueling and intense battle, Iba and the remaining members of his team head to the designated meeting point in Kyoto, where they had planned to regroup. They leave their machine gun in the water, allowing it to sink beneath the waves as they move on. With a sense of hope and determination, they look forward to a future where Iba will rule the country alongside Kagetora. At the Imperial Palace, Kagetora finds himself in a tense meeting with his advisors, Shogun Ashikaga Yoshiaki and Hosokawa Fujitaka. They pressure him to eliminate Iba, arguing that doing so would allow Kagetora to seize control of the region for himself. When they learn that Iba's all-modern equipment was damaged in the recent battle, Shogun Yoshiaki issues a direct order to Hosokawa to kill Iba on their way. Other men in the room join the conversation, insisting that they cannot trust someone they barely know, especially someone who seems to defy the natural flow of time. One of the advisors then cautions Kagetora that if he ignores their advice, he too will be in danger of being killed alongside Iba. This serious warning adds to the tension in the room, making it clear that going against their plans could lead to dire consequences for Kagetora. While Iba's team is camping in their designated area, they notice a significant shift in the position of Venus in the night sky. This change fills them with hope, reminding them of the same event that occurred just before they were unexpectedly transported back 400 years in time. Inspired by this realization, the team suggests to Iba that they should travel to the supply base, hoping to find a way back to their own time. Although most of the team is eager to take this opportunity to return home, Iba firmly disagrees. He insists they must stay put, believing there is no real reason to go back. He warns them sternly that anyone who tries to leave will face serious consequences. His strong declaration causes the rest of the team to abandon their plans for returning home. The following day, Kagetora arrives at the location where Iba and his team are situated, leading a large group of soldiers with weapons aimed at the team. For a brief moment, Iba feels a sense of relief upon seeing Kagetora. However, Kagetora tries to assure him that he has nothing against him, and Iba quickly senses the betrayal lurking beneath his words. Just as he prepares to defend himself with his sword, Kagetora shoots him, and his troops take down Iba's men with arrows. Filled with regret after the confrontation, Kagetora takes the fallen bodies of Iba and his team and buries them with the honor they deserve. As he stands there, a heavy weight settles in his heart, a reminder of the choices made and the bonds broken. The night sky, once filled with hope, now seems to echo the loss of friendship and trust, leaving Kagetora to ponder the true cost of ambition in a world torn by conflict.